Here we go!
Hey Blue Blurs, what is up? This is Gamer Leg 90 speeding right on into the third episode of my Sonic 3 and Knuckles playthrough series. And unlike in my last video, I remembered to put on my Knuckles hat this time, so don't be snitching me to Knuckles. Anyway, in this video we'll be highlighting the Marble Garden Zone from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. A stage that doesn't typically enter conversation whenever one thinks of Sonic 3. Generally the first things that come to mind are like Angel Island, Ice Cap, Blind Battery, and most definitely Lava Reef and Sky Sanctuary. Probably Death Egg to an extent. Although probably not as often, which is surprising given that Death Egg is basically the precursor to the Doomsday Zone, which will be the finale to the series, if of course you've collected all the... Oh, Tails, you actually almost screwed me over there! I should hurt you for that, boy. Like, I almost got crushed flatter than a pancake by that trap right there. So you know what? You can go screw yourself. You tried to have me get crushed? Let me remind you I'm the protagonist of this game. So my survival matters way more than yours does. Sometimes I feel like I'm more odd with Tail than I'm working together with him. So, well. And I wound up losing my electric shield, but I'd rather lose that than my rings. Now, just to remind you guys, I collected all the Chaos Emeralds in both the Angel Island and Hydro City Zone, so I had the ability to go supersonic whenever I want to, but I'm going to keep that to a limit for the purposes of this playthrough. I might show off Supersonic one time just to make you all aware of his existence and how he functions and whatnot, but I'm not going to be using him to beat the game up until we get to the finale of it, of course. So yeah. There are some spike beds that will, of course, be fake while you're going through Marble Garden. A contraption will pop out from underneath and start spitting fireballs at you. But luckily, those are susceptible to spin-dash attack, which will be your primary method of taking them out. Just be very careful not to get deceived by the fake spikes. Although, honestly, I'm not sure which is more lethal, falling onto real spikes or, running smack into the fake ones, because if you just fall onto the fake spikes, they'll actually bounce you upwards as if they were a spring instead, which is pretty interesting. Look at that! Shade of Sonic Mania Stardust Speedway, although that pillar we were just spiraling all around was actually a main feature of Marble Garden before it ever got reintegrated into Sonic Mania Stardust Speedway, which of course is my favorite stage. And Sonic Mania being the love letter to the Sonic classics, yes, of course I had to bring that up with Mania being my favorite Sonic game. I think y'all knew this was coming. So we're gonna pick up the Fire Shield, and I thought there might be a hidden wall to the upper right there, but there is not, so we're just gonna keep it moving. Now, despite me not being all that interested in this stage, this is actually one of those reasonably active stages, but it's also particularly lengthy, which I can get behind. I don't like stages being too short, but at the same time, I don't like them being so long that they take almost an hour to finish. Read Eggman Land from Sonic Unleashed. Not that it's possible for it to be that long anyway, because typically, when you're playing a stage in a classic Sonic game, you have a time limit of 10 minutes. And you always have to keep that in mind if ever trying to take a more explorative aspect to your gameplay, as opposed to just trying to clear them as fast as you possibly can. Okay, Beyblade! Let her rip! Another fun little feature here to Marble Garden. The more I think about it, the more the stage are becoming kind of fun to me. I was never too big a fan of the Beyblade series, but I do know the reference, and this blue contraption we're standing on serves a similar feature. It allows you to spiral through tunnels like the one we just went through above, and once you guide it over breakable pieces of ground, they'll give away and you'll be able to progress through the stage. Kind of fun when you look at it, and oh look at that. Okay, didn't take us terribly long to get to the finish line. That's kind of what? Kind of cool. Why the heck am I? Oh wait, that's right. My electric shield did not come out, and I just stood there and took that drill like a moron. I'm not looking too impressive right now. But yeah, shades of the Mystic Cave boss from Sonic 2. You have to avoid these spikes as they are crumbling from the ceiling, while that little contraption there does its best to shake things up a bit. And then of course will drop down with the intention of hitting you with its drills. please be better than I ever was and avoid them as often as you can so you can go on the attack and get rid of the boss before it becomes any sort of a threat. And like all mini bosses, something I may have forgotten to mention before, but the Act 2 bosses all take 8 hits to beat, the mini boss in Act 1 on the other hand only takes 6 hits. So they're a bit easier in the first act than they are in the second act, but not entirely easier. Depends on the nature of the boss you're dealing with. So here we are in Marble Guard Act 2, and this is where the danger starts to become more apparent. Instead of that contraption from earlier, now you have Dr. Eggman trying to drill literal holes throughout all of the Marble Garden. Ah, crap, I should have done a spin dash, but instead, because of Eggman's anthem a second ago, it's gonna create this hill that we're gonna have to go down instead, whether we like it or not. Way a bit quicker, we could have taken that upper route and potentially finished this stage a heck of a lot faster than we normally would, but I was not quick enough. This isn't a stage that I tend to take too much interest in, as I said earlier. But one thing I forgot to say about the first act of Marble Garden is that according to the achievements that were coded into Sonic 3 a.i.r, which is the version that we're playing right now, there are actually 6 special stage rings that you can pick up in Marble Garden Act 1. And you know what's funny? For as often as I play this game, I don't think I found all of them. I certainly found a healthy number of big rings playing through the game as a whole, but 6 in a single act is almost unheard of. Speaking of special stage... Oh, no. No. We're not gonna have one of those fails resultant of a Let's Play curse. Don't you even think about it. I don't want to suffer the effects of karma as for me forcefully punishing Tails when he almost got me killed in Act 1. I don't want to get, on the bad end of karma for that, okay? So yeah, let's take this Beyblade and ride to its upper section and lose all my rings in the process. That blue badnik we just destroyed a bit ago, I feel like its design was inspired by a similar badnik from a previous game. I'm trying to remember which one that is though, but it's not exactly coming home to me. If anybody knows, then feel free to let me know. Either way, when the spikes do come out, you actually can't use the insta-shield to circumvent it and destroy the badnik because I think, well, it's got spikes around it, it's actually completely invincible, so you can't attack it, period. You have to wait for the spikes to retract inside its body, and then go on the offensive. Look at that, though. That's a pretty awesome sight of the mountaintops of Marble Garden, I have to say. By the way, these are briefly featured in the background for Sonic 3D and 2D's Volcano Valley Zone, as some of you may have seen recently if you were watching my content, and I thought that was pretty cool. Gave Marble Garden a bit more of a purpose than just being a stage that was there for the sake of being there. So now that we're playing it live, or what you consider live anyway, it's turning out to be a bit more fun than I expected it to be, aside from the heart attack I almost had getting crushed by these traps. That was the most intimidating feature about Marble Garden to me, and don't get me wrong, they aren't, like, difficult to avoid at all as long as you time your spin dash correctly, but they still get you pretty, anxious as to what will happen if you fail. And though I did say that the stage layout isn't enjoyable in some aspects, the soundtrack is as catchy as ever. It's hard to, listen to any piece of Sonic 3 music and not feel caught up in it to the point that you almost spear yourself by accident. Juggling commentary and gameplay all at once is not the easiest thing in the world. To the Let's Players out there that do it, I don't know how you do it, but frankly, you have my respect. Those traps we almost got crushed by earlier are not the only feature of this stage that can prove to be intimidating, depending on how you approach them. And you'll soon see what the other one is, though you kinda got a taste of it earlier, when Eggman conjured that downwards hill while, using that contraption drilled through Marble Garden for reasons that are not entirely clear to me. Although now that I think about it, maybe he was drilling throughout all of Marble Garden to find the Chaos Emeralds. Or the Master Emerald even, because he does eventually steal the Master Emerald later on in Sonic 3. Spoilers that are not really spoilers. But speaking of Eggman, he's back and ready for another round. And he's changing up the landscape of Marble Garden again. But this time the stakes are higher. It might stop at some point though, after we move past here. Oh no! This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. The ground will start to rise, and if you aren't quick enough, you will get crushed. But this time I was a lot faster. So we're gonna escape the fate of being crushed into a Sonic pancake, and we're also going to get to do something that I promised you all initially, and that is taking another look at one of the 3 bonus stages, accessed by the checkpoints in Sonic 3. For this one, you spin around these electrically charged balls, whatever they're actually called, maybe magnets or something like that, because they do seem to have magnetic properties. You'll spin around them, and then press the jump button to launch yourself off of them, depending on which side of it you're facing, and it will send you off in that same direction. If you pass over these smaller balls, they will create items, or rings, or extra lives. It could be anything, really. And as long as you pass over the gumball resulting from that smaller ball being activated, you'll be able to pick up the item and add it to your inventory. What's interesting is, the more ring balloons you pick up, ring gumballs or balloons, whichever term you want to use, it doesn't matter to me, but the more of these you pick up in this bonus stage, the higher the number of rings you will get with subsequent collections. And if you are good enough, you can make it all the way to the very top of the bonus stage and end up exiting it. It doesn't really matter if you exit the stage from the upper side or the lower side. You will still keep all the items that you collected while you were in that bonus stage, which is pretty cool. Okay. So there's a spiked log that's not really meant to be there other than for just the sake of being there. Oh yeah, another passable wall. We have an electric shield. The nice thing about Marble Garden Acts 1 and 2 is that there are an awful lot of these passable walls, most of which will lead to the special stage rings, and there is an awful lot of those in this zone. So if I were you, I'd keep my eyes peeled. Alright, most of this area, I believe we are at the boss battle for Marble Garden. And now I have the electric shield on hand, let's see if I can get myself a head start before... Oh crap! Crap! Well, I got 5 hits, but that's okay. What happens here is that Eggman essentially destroys the entire ground by drilling into it. Crap! My jump didn't come out! How do I... Oh, that's right. I had to hold down on the analog stick and then hit the jump button. That's how I get Sonic to let go of Tails and go on the attack. And because we nailed 5 hits earlier, we basically reduced our workflow for the second phase of this boss, and we now only had to hit it 3 times to beat it. I know that my demonstration of his boss battle was not all that great, I'm sorry about that. I keep forgetting to keep the stick held downward before I jump so I can get Sonic to go on the attack. Instead, I end up getting hit and lost all of my rings, which is something you cannot afford to let happen, because you're flying up in the sky with Tails having seemingly limitless fuel for his flight this time around. Now of all times does he decide to have unlimited stamina. That could have been useful in other parts of the game, Tails. But yeah, the boss battle was pretty self-explanatory. He starts it off by slinging drones to the ground, destroying the entire stage essentially, so Sonic and Tails had to take to the skies to face off against him there. But you can score a decent amount of hits against him early on before the second phase actually starts off, and depending on how many you nail, you'll have to hit him for the rest of the amount of times you would need to hit him in order to finish off the boss. In this case, we got 5 hits to start it off, so we only need to hit him 3. Now imagine if you didn't hit him at all before the ground completely gave way. You would be spending a very unwelcome amount of time on this second phase. So whatever you do, try to lighten your burden as much as you can. Oh boy. Look at this. We're here Carnival Night Zone. And this stage is definitely not a fun-loving carnival. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. I don't think it'd be a stretch to say that it's everybody's least favorite stage whenever they think of Sonic 3. Well, I'm definitely not looking forward to the suffering that will unfold in the next video. It's a stage I can handle reasonably well, don't get me wrong, I just don't like it. Particularly for a practical relic in Sonic history that we'll get to come across in Act 2. Until then though, that's gonna do it for this video, as I do need to take a bit of a breather after those heart attack Tails put me through with those spike traps in Act 1 and 2. And now he's giving me that look like, wait, why are you blaming me, man? It's not my fault. Tails, guess what? Everything is your fault. That's an unspoken rule, man, and I don't write them. Anyway, that's gonna be it for the Marble Garden Zone of Sonic 3. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, drop those likes and comments, and to keep up with this series along with my other Sonic content as they come, most of which will be playthroughs, some of which actually won't be, hit that sub button and ring that bell. thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the Marble Garden Zone, and I will see you next time for the Carnival Night Zone. I hate circuses. Take care. Blue Blurs for life. Peace out.